like that. Yeah. And I've had guys who trained with me, and before they go into Wing Chun, and before they're gone, they're over there. I'm like, it hurts, but I'm going, well, then they clearly belong over there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I certainly don't want them here in my school, constantly complaining and telling me why Jeet Kune Do is better or Wing Chun is better, and blah, blah. And I'm trying to, yeah, sure, we do that too. So here, let's do some trapping for you. And like, you're disrupting my flow. Yeah. So actually, you probably don't belong here. You should go do Wing Chun. You should go do BJJ. You should do MMA. Good luck in the ring, dude. Yeah. And that's fine too. Perfect example, my student, Nelson Pinto. When he was training with me, he already had a lot of experience that, funny enough to me, that kind of paralleled a lot what I did. I saw a lot of myself in him, but like maybe 20, 30 years ago, right? And oh, but he's a fire player.
Love you. Oh my God,
he holds you in such a high respect.
He's dynamite. He's an awesome guy.
We hold him in high respect. Oh
he's an awesome guy.
Great. We talked to him recently, and that was a crazy conversation.
Yeah.
He
told us he spent like a year with you in your house in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The whole year you guys just trained?
And we say in Spanish convivir. It means to live together. Just live together, be family. In our group, we say we're a family. And I don't mean like, in a cult kind of way. I'm just saying in a martial arts brotherhood.
There was no Kool-Aid.
It's a unique martial arts brotherhood where we are each other's brother and we are each other's keeper. And we help one another. By helping you get up, that helps me get up, and we get up together. I say a lot of times, your success is my success, and my success is your success. That's how we view it. But in that way, we do become kind of like a family. I think martial arts in general, there's many times in life, especially when I was in the military, you'd meet some guy, and you look at him, you automatically knew, like, so what's your style? Yeah. You could just tell. There's something about this guy. And you go, how did you know I trained? How did you know I trained? Oh, I can just tell. And then they'll say, I'm this, and they say I'm that. But when they say that they're your style, I do Kali too. Really? Kali?
Oh, from where?
From where? I was from California, from the Mission District. Really? Where? Then something
lineage, where are you
right?
From? Who's your teacher?
So when I would say that I was... someone would say they're Farang School, I know everybody. But when I was in Huarangdo, for example, they would say they're Huarang, like, Huarangdo? I'm Huarangdo. Who is your teacher? Oh, I learned over here in the East Coast. Oh, I learned from Jupang Lee, the Grand Master. Really? And dude, let's go to my house. Let's train. We became even totally closer, right? Yeah. So that's that brotherhood that I'm talking about. That's that family that I'm talking about.
That sounded like Master King's story.
Yeah.
In my case, I treat my students like family. Why? Because... when I first started training, my first students were my family.
Of course.
I used to go train in my school and on Army Street on the other side of the old Sears building there, Carlos Navarro, Professor Carlos Navarro. And I have my younger brother, my younger sister were really excited. They were like my little sidekicks. And they really wanted to come and train with me, but my mom could only pay for one of us, so I was the one. So they would take turns and carry my bag. I'd make them carry my bag and then follow me. And then they would sit behind the partition there and watch me in class. And then I'd work out. And then when I came home, I'd push the living room coffee table over side and I'd line them both up. And I'd teach them everything we just did in class.
That's
so
awesome.
They became my first students. And then as I started to actually have my own clubs and my own schools and things like that, the majority of my first groups were my family, my brothers and sisters, my nieces, my nephews, my cousins.
That's awesome.
And then I treated my students who were not my blood family like family because we all would train hard, we all have a good time, and then we all go to my house and we have Mexican food, and or whatever, and we would convivir. And so that is what I mean about family, that we are like a family. It's a very unique brotherhood.
And I think that happens in almost every system.
Every good system,
they all become that. I mean, I've seen some, like you said, not all, but I've seen some where it's not like that. We knew of Johnny Oliver. You know John Oliver.
Name rings a bell.
He in the beginning used to say that I didn't like to associate with my students. After class, I would just send everybody.
Some people have that philosophy.
Right?
They don't.
But after a while, he came around and realized, no, that's not a good thing, and he became good friends. He, if they needed something, he'd go. Whatever. I mean,
he knows about their kids.
And he realized, families. That was the old way was bad.
That approach,
it was. It kind of left things out.
Yeah, I'm up here.
Yeah, and they're down here. And then once you realize that, he goes, "Now I've never been any more happier." He treats everybody as, like you said, family now. I mean, and that's how we like to think of it in our system. That hey, just come on over.
Well, just like him, you started teaching your nephew, your other nephew, his son.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was like that, yeah.
Oh, your niece.
Yeah, my niece.
And then the Mexican came along.
And we still haven't gotten rid of him.
We stick around for a while, you noticed?
Let me ask you this, because it sounded like you had a good time. I mean, you pretty much touched on a question that I was going to ask, is that how did you get started? I mean, you went to was Navarro's your first school?
He was my first official traditional.
What got you to want to go see that? I mean, aside from the Bruce Lee, I said, let me find a school.
So when I first saw Bruce Lee on TV on the Green Hornet, I'll say like 66 or 67, something like that. I already I learned how to box since I was a little kid, since before I went to school. So by the time I was 3, 4, by the time I was 5, I knew how to use my dukes. My dad taught me. My older brother taught me.
It's not like Fernando Solo's story.
Right. Well,
they were seasoned street fighters.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm born and raised in San Francisco. As a little kid, I lived in the Bayview Hunters Point. I went to Burnett Elementary over there off 3rd Street.
Yeah, you had to box up.
In the 60s, it was a predominantly black school, and I was one of a handful of non-black families during the 60s. It was called the Civil Rights Movement. I got picked on a lot for being called white and all that kind of stuff.
You were pretty light-skinned.
But it was all cool. Once people realize that I'm from the neighborhood, it's all good. I don't think it was a terrible childhood. On the contrary, it was actually very cool. But it was definitely full of a lot of fistfights, and I learned how to defend myself. I would stick up for myself like that. Because why? Because if you didn't, they'd walk all over. You couldn't walk to the store. They'd steal your lunch. You had to stick up for yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get walked all over. And I learned that from a very young age. Wow, so I learned how to defend myself since I was a little kid. And then in the 60s, I discovered martial arts. And then I saw Bruce Lee on TV. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. It seemed very interesting. And I started looking around. And I realized, like I said, a couple of classmates of mine had boxed before, and then they did martial arts. So we trained together, and then I would work with friends for several years. And then as it turns out, one of my classmates, again, that I've known since the 3rd grade, his name is Percy Harris, he said, hey, I'm training in karate already. It's this guy named Carlos Zavarro down on Mission Street. We should come and check him out. And I went to go check him out. And I said, perfect. So we went to my mom's business, which was a beauty salon over there on Cap Street.
Oh, wow.
It's still there. Right now it's called Carisma. At the time it was called Eva Etz. That was my mom's beauty salon, by the way. Right across from the
Carisma now.
The AT&T building or whatever it's called. Pac Bell in those days. At any rate, so we went there and I told her I want to do this. She gave me a check for $35. I went back to the school, gave it to him, he gave me a uniform, and I started training. And that was my first official traditional Asian martial arts training.
What style was that?
It was called Kempo. Chinese Kempo.
Yeah, I was over Belisso's down the street from there.
Around the corner.
Around the corner, yeah.
I knew him as well.
Lenny.
There was like 3 main ones. It was like, aside from Castro, they all came from Castro. It was Ralph Castro, great grandmaster, rest in peace. Carlos Zavarro, Rick Alamany, and Brandon Belisso.
Yeah.
Were like one of the main ones in the city.
Well, Brandon didn't come Brandon until Bruce Lee's son, Brandon. But his father,
I meant to say Lenny Belisso.
Yeah, thank you. Because
well, I'm so used to calling his son
Brandon. Yeah,
I'm used to calling his son
Lenny
because he didn't like to be called Lenny.
He's my cousin.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was.
That's why you went.
I've known him for many years.
Yeah. Really?
Like I remember, I just will never forget meeting Rick Alamany the first time I met him, and thank God he remembered me all these years later. He came into our school and just would hang out with us and would spar with us. And I remember when he walked in the door, I was like, oh, shoot. He just looked scary. He had this big old black goatee, long hair, and he just looked mean. And then when we fought, he fought like a demon. And then he was just the nicest guy.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's going to
be royalty back in the day.
He was he was a really amazing fighter. I learned so much from him. And our school was a fighting school, so we sparred all the time. Yep. I went to a tournament as a white belt after like only 2 or 3 months. My teacher took me to a tournament.
Yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, I got thrown in the ring there.
Didn't you like Castro's tournaments were always the funnest?
I really love going to tournaments because in those days, to see other martial artists and their styles and you see them do their forms, it was just so unusual.
Yeah, tons of people. These days, I went to one a couple of years back and like, wow, this is not
not what it used to be.
I mean,
well,
maybe
internet, you can just see it on
100, 150 people. Back then, thousands of people go. They'd be up in the bleachers. I mean, remember?
You want to hear a funny story? I remember going to my first tournament. Going to my tournament with my teacher, and then I walked in. I see all these people, and I saw these black belts on the gymnasium floor, and I was like, I gotta fight all these people. My teacher's like, no, you just gotta fight, some of them. Like, I was all worried. I had to fight everybody.
That's.
I'll take you out long.
It was funny. My first tournament, they had me to do a kata, a kempo kata. I think it was maybe the H or the I. They were both the same, but I get in there and I get third place out of 3 people.
Hey, you placed.
Hey, I placed.
A big part of it,
right?
The biggest part of it is showing up.
It's showing up, and I had something to show for it.
And you show up, and the more you train, the better your showing will be.
Yeah. I used to love. Whenever Rob Castro did a tournament, I mean, his was always big. I mean, he was real flashy about it. I mean, he had all the whole. Everybody would come out. Your school, you'd all walk out in the whole bit.
A ceremony. And that was actually really cool. I actually did miss that.
Right? I mean, those are the good times of. I remember that was always my favorite part. That you'd see all these schools, like you said. Come on, Crazy Dragons were there. Every time they had the same thing. Those guys were.
Thank God they were a lot more of my friends. The Losada brothers and I became friends a long time ago.
We talked to Tammy Whelan about it. And she was like, "Yeah, we were bad. We had pink geese." We're like, what?
Yeah, they got the color wrong, but they rocked it.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember Crazy Dragons. Those guys were hard asses. I got beat up by one guy by the whole school in the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in my stance. I'm ready. I turn. You hear everybody go, "No!" Bam! I'm like, God damn. Who am I fighting? Him or everybody else?
You weren't aware of your surroundings. Okay?
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, those days were fun. I remember.
They were really fun. You certainly learned a lot, and nothing against tournaments these days because they're a product of our current environment.
Right.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, again, see, kind of like Father Musul, I want to embrace and maintain the things that are of value from that classical traditional training. Let's hold on to that. And there's nothing wrong with being modern and progressive, in my opinion. Matter of fact, there's a lot to be gained from that. We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for that.
You said the balance. You have to have both.
Yeah.
Take what was good then and what's good now.
Did you find that you had to change anything as you were growing from the old Kempo to where you are now, and some of the things that were given to you that you felt needed to evolve? Because in the beginning of a class, even back in the day, right? I remember back during Kempo when at Belisa's, they said, "Oh, you have to evolve." But the moment you did, you got your hand slapped.
You got chastised.
Yeah. No, you have to do it like this. But where's the evolution?
Yeah. And in the old days, you're not supposed to cross train. You're not supposed to work with other people from another style, another teacher, another black belt. It was a no-no.
That's crazy.
But we would do it, like in my case, like I said, I just had friends from different arts, and I was very interested in. We were very
so he wasn't necessarily breaking the rules.
He wasn't breaking. I was training with my friend.
No, we were training something else.
Because it was taboo.
It was taboo, and it was not cool. You would not get this. You would get kicked out.
Yeah.
Really? They'd kick you out?
Yeah, you'd kick you out.
Oh, yeah.
Because we heard that one girl, she had to sign a contract that said that she wouldn't train outside of her.
Some people have that. I've heard that,
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that was just a few years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
nuts. Insane.
I'm like, who are you guys to dictate where my life goes?
I'm paying for a service at this point. I mean, not to get too cold-hearted about it, because, it is something we love to do, but, you do take something with you that's yours. Well, who
it
is
yours.
Tell me?
I tell my students all the time, I pay attention to what I'm teaching you, pay attention to what I'm showing you, because right now this is my technique, and I'm showing it to you. And after I finish showing it to you, it's no longer my technique, it's your technique. Because you know what? No one could ever take it away from you, even me. No one could ever take it away from you. So now it's your responsibility to take care of it.
Yeah,
I like that.
The way we frame it, we say, "Hey, you paid for it, it's yours." You bought this from me.
And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to
Yeah, exactly.
I'm waiting for my students to catch up with me. I'm waiting, and Nelson, let's go. Let's do this. Oh, I was telling you about Nelson. So when he first,
sorry, Nelson
Pinto. When he first came to train with me, he was very interested in what we were doing, and we dove in, both feet. And he was a very diligent student, and he was a great guy. He's a wonderful guy.
He's focused.
He's very dedicated. He's very dedicated, and like I said, I saw a lot of myself in him. And he went through the art rather quickly, and it's not that I was like pushing him or giving him any special treatment, but to me, I don't hold anyone back. I remember me training, being held back, that really bothered me, and I was like, I want to move faster. For me, martial arts came relatively easy, where some people it's harder, But in Nelson's case, he moved fast, Right. So I was like, cool. And as he started moving up in the ranks, he had a lot of interest in doing other stuff, despite the fact that I thought that I was trying to meet all his needs, but he wanted to do other stuff. He wanted to train at this, he wanted to train at that. And I'm like, who am I to tell him no? I'm like, sure, go ahead. Matter of fact, that's a good idea. Meet different people from different schools and network them. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, train with them and share with them seminars and support theirs. They'll support you. If they have sparring, you go there or take your students. And suddenly he had this like deep affinity for Filipino Indonesian martial arts.
Right.
And he said, sir, I'm going to do this. Like, do it.
You're the first person, teacher, grandmaster, anything, that's ever said that. Mm-hmm. That go ahead and cross-train. Outside of Danny Inosanto. Because everybody else is like, no, you're here. This is your thing. But
I don't feel like I provide everything. I would like to think I do, but I know I'm not.
But you're the first one who actually publicly said that.
And sure.
Like, especially in FMA.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not supposed. No, you're in our school. This is it.
I have no problem with my students going to different seminars, training in different schools, working with different guys, doing different sparring. I think that's great. And unfortunately, if they feel that that's more their liking, I support them. Like, you know what? We're still family, come by any time, I have some black belts, for example, that are on the East Coast that were with me for years, and they just kind of like drifted apart, and we're still family, but now they're doing jiu-jitsu, and like, that's cool. That's fine. That's cool. Nelson's been doing a lot of Filipino martial arts, but he's still in Paramusul, and that's fine too. The way I see it, like, all that's going to do is get you better, and they're going to do my hard work for you. I don't have to do all that mat work. I don't have to do all that stick work.
Yeah. I'm 62. I don't want to get my knuckles wrapped anymore.
Bring that back, and maybe you'll have something that I can learn from, that we can all benefit from. I used to say all the time, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to like. I have to invent everything all from scratch, and we have only very limited ground fighting skills or very minimal trapping, so I should come up with like, screw that. Who's already done trapping? Oh, Wing Chun. Let me see what they do. What do they do in BJJ? What do they do in these other styles that I've already put the time and the energy in? And as I said earlier, a choke is a choke is a choke. An armbar is an armbar. Yeah. A one or a two, a forehand or a backhand with a stick is a forehand. It doesn't matter if it's Filipino or Mexican, people, or it doesn't matter.
I always tell people, you have 2 hands, 2 feet. You can't really show me anything really new.
Right. I mean, nothing new under the sun.
No, I mean,
but
you might call it, you might brand it something else, but it's the same as this.
Well, I'll finish. As I said, I get this from Daniel Santos. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I just want to make a better tire. There you go. And that's my philosophy too.
But right? Because what really can you show me that I have never ever seen before? No matter what style or system you're in. Yeah. Even in boxing, crossing to martial arts, same thing. You still have a right cross, uppercut, blah, blah, blah. It's all present. Right. The footwork is all the same. You can't really do anything, other than what we believe is the change of mentality. That's the only thing that really does change, because depending how you grew up, where you were from, blah, 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 you see things different. Your views of life are a lot different.
And it's a change of the individual mentality, not necessarily as a whole.
Yeah.
We're products of our upbringing, and we're products of our environment.
And that's the only thing that could really change.
I remember one time when I first started teaching in Europe, one of my early seminars, I want to say it was 97 or 98, maybe it was 98 because I was in Poland, and it was in Germany. I was teaching knife fighting, and I was teaching, CQC techniques. So this is our traditional training. This is how it works in a more, impacting way. You're going to jack somebody up with this. This is CQC, what I call close quarter combat. Yeah. And you gotta watch their hands, and you got this and that, and if anything other than those fingers come out, you better jump on them. Blah blah. I was talking about all these things that I felt like very important, and things that I grew up with, here in the city and everything. Yeah. And I remember these guys looking at me and going, "What kind of a city did you grow up in?" You must have a very violent upbringing.
Right, that's funny.
And I'm like, no.
It's practical. I swear, it's practical.
It's just. Well, maybe it was. Maybe I did have to fight more. Maybe you think it's and they go. You know what we call martial arts in Germany? It's not like we say. We say martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Fighting arts, military arts, martial arts.
Right.
So the German words for martial arts is actually Kampfkunst. Kampfkunst. Kampfkunst means martial arts, but that's not the generic term they use. They call it Kampfsport, and I'm like, Kampfsport, martial sports, and they would call their teacher or their trainer, and all that kind of stuff. Like,
that does change.
It's just a different
yeah.
Mentality on how this has been introduced, and there's a reason for that, because post the war, a lot of those military kind of stuff and military behavior was really frowned upon, and so they keep it more mellow, and it's just a sport, and this guy's just a trainer, and all the kind of stuff. So it was a different,
that's amazing.
a different custom. Why?
Yeah.
Because it was a different people that had a different
history
interpreting this exactly. And who was I to say that that's wrong, or that I'm right or they're wrong, and I'm right and they're wrong, and
that's a culture clash.
Exactly.
Wow.
But we met in the middle.
Cool.
And everywhere that I've gone to teach, and everywhere that we have a school, that philosophy that I share, regardless if it's from San Francisco or whatever, it's there too. They have their own version of it. And the family bond that we have actually surprises me, because there's some people I've met for the first time. For example, my students in Russia, and they have the same bond just like us, which is amazing. And I meet my students in Germany, and they meet the guys from Poland, and they meet the guys from the U.S., and we're all like this. Amazing. And it's so cool. I think that's very, very cool,
Hey, let me ask you
World
this.
Trek, yeah.
Where are we on time?
Past the hour.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no, we love these things.
He's enthralled.
We like to, usually at the end, or the last section of our show, is to do some demos. And I know you have a lot to, because I've seen some of the stuff that you do.
Did you see the binders?
No.
That's his curriculum.
Yeah, that's his curriculum out there.
Yeah, from white to kind of almost black, and then from purple to those who are going to be black. I don't remember.